So just up here with the tractor, just waiting for a truck to turn up. I bought a couple of little dozers. So it was a few months ago now. I went up to a wrecking yard that had a lot of tractors there, and he was getting out of it. And I knew these dozers was sitting there, and I made him an offer, and he accepted. So here we are. So they're actually Fowler Challenger 1s, which are pretty rare. They didn't make many of them. So I think we'll just sit them here for now, just to get them off the truck quickly. Shouldn't be too far away. Well, this definitely won't be a first start video. I think I'm a long way off that. Not sure if I've just purchased a heap of scrap steel or an interesting project. We'll have to see on that one. So this is an early 1950s Fowler Challenger 1, built in Leeds, England. Now just a brief bit of history. I mean, it's quite detailed, the whole history of the Fowler company, or John Fowler. So just after the war, a company who also just purchased Marshall in Gainsborough also purchased the Fowler company. Fowler were already building crawlers, and this was the new range after the takeover, so they wanted to keep everything in-house, even their engines, so they decided to use a Marshall engine, which is a ED5. I think there's a plate in there somewhere. So this engine is about a 50 horsepower, blower scavenged or loop scavenged, with a 5 1/4 bore and 6-inch stroke, 2-cylinder. So I guess that's what makes this machine a little bit interesting, is the engine. So there's no valves, it's just all done with a porting and a blower, a roots type blower. It's just got a CAV type injection pump on it. I've just got a brochure here. That's the first model, I suppose. You notice it's actually got 4-roller truck frame. They were shorter, where the later ones they went to 5-roller like this one, and then they added the top carrier in as well. They also moved the fuel tank from here to the back, probably to balance it out a bit better, maybe. So this one here was brought into Australia and then as a crawler, and then fitted by more machinery, blade and hydraulics, very much similar to our Challenger 3. And it is build number 196. So these are quite rare. They're only made about 360, so I believe, but the majority of them end up getting exported from England, so there's only a handful left. I think quite a few got sent to Tasmania and various parts around Australia. I am talking to a guy at the moment who is restoring one of these in England. I think he started off with something similar or even worse. And as far as engine parts go, you cannot get anything pretty much. So it's all just got to be made up or machined yourself if you can't get it. The controls are a little bit different. The other pedal is the clutch. You've got a foot brake here, then you've got your steering clutches, which disengages the clutch to start with, and when you keep pulling it back you'll pull the steering brake on. Gear lever there for speeds, a reverse, and then that gear lever is just a range. These are the cylinder heads with a decompression lever for just to get it winding over for starting. Now the track frames, well, the actual chains are the same as early model D4. When I did look at these at the tractor wrecking yard, I did get a little bit of history on these machines. So what's the story with these machines? This is how you got them? Yeah.
We towed them out of a blackberry. The blackberries started to grow up out at Kimberley, and we gave them scrap price for them. They were going to send them to scrap, and
yeah,
it was about $100 a tonne, I think. And they reckon they'd weigh, the two of them, it'd weigh 7 or 8 tonne. And then we had to tow them home here, so we went out and winched them on the tilt train out of it and just picked up what was there.
Yeah.
That one was Sloan.
Joseph Sloan there.
Of that one.
So you don't know much about the history of them, where they did work or anything?
No, well, we got them off the Woodcocks out at Cole Woodcock. He was operating them, and then he died, and the sons took over the farm. And the story that I think they bought that one for spares.
Yeah.
This one here, they were operating it, but they were having all sorts of trouble with the engine. Couldn't keep oil up to it, and then it blew over anyway. So they pulled it down. We were going to do it up, and it was going to cost them too much, and so we came permanent.
So this is where the blower bolts onto here, and then you got your ports up inside the cylinder there. They actually do have covers on the crankshaft there, so you can get to the crankshaft. It's electric 24 volt starter motor up there. Some of them did have a petrol engine, but they did have a few issues with this engine. I think there was some, used to get hot on around the piston crown, and then it had scuffing on the cylinder walls and maybe a lack of lubrication there, and it also used to push a lot of oil out the exhaust. So I'm hoping with a rebuild and maybe modern oils and the kind of work I'll be doing with it, I don't think it'll be an issue. I'm thinking of actually removing the whole blade system, all this sort of stuff, and then just put it back to a basic crawler and not have anything on there. I don't really need the blade. I've already got other dozers with blades. The trunnions look like they just bolt on, but I did notice there's some weld on some of them. Someone's made up some track guards or rock guards there. So these sit on a dead shaft, very much like the Challenger 3, with a crank set up in the front for the oscillating of the tracks. You can just see on this other one, so this is all the parts I've got with it. There's a supercharger there, or blower. They had a pretty big exhaust system on them. And there's all the porting down there, so you've got your inlet on this side and the exhaust on that side. Now the inlet actually closed before the exhaust port, so there wasn't any actual supercharging effect apart from just using the blower to scavenge. So once the piston went up past the exhaust port. That's when the compression stroke started. I do have another machine like similar condition to this one I've got to go and pick up as well. That is actually not that far away from me. So there we go, just a bit of an introduction to another project.